Namaste. My name is Vivekanand, and welcome to this Hangout on Air. Let me start my timer and get going today. This is the 8th episode in a series that I have started with a view to help entrepreneurs who have lots and lots of ideas and would like to succeed with lots of projects. In this episode, the focus is on organization theme. This episode is going to be about how PRINCE2 handles organization. How you define the roles within your organization determines whether you are successful in a project or not. I have great pleasure in welcoming my panel of business owners today. As usual, in the agenda for today, we begin with just a minute where each panel member takes center stage and gives 60-second elevator pitch, followed by a short presentation covering the topic of the day. This week again, I would tell you a short story snippet from the popular science fiction TV series Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 3, episode entitled The Measure of a Man. In particular, the organization that the Star Trek represents and how it relates to PRINCE2 methodology. Then we shall have a discussion with the panel members sharing their experiences and insights. One of the major components of any business is how it promotes itself. How do the people within the organization promote the business? Business networking is an important part. As we have the author of an Amazon bestseller book, Business Networking for Dummies, Mr. Stefan Thomas, I personally am honored to hear from him some of his experiences and insights about the role of business networking and what each individual within every organization can play. Then I shall talk about what is coming up in the next episode, and we conclude for today. As in the previous episodes, I aim for half an hour, but I would not dare to cut off anyone when the discussion is lively and adding value. We have come to the just a minute section. Each of us will have a minute each, and we shall give you our 60-second elevator pitches. It gives me great pleasure to state that an important person from the very organization which helped me put together my own 60-second pitch is on the panel today with us, and that does make me a bit nervous, to be honest. Of course, there it was 40 seconds, but here it is 60, so there is 50% more time. Within a minute each of us will try to explain why anyone should contact us, how it would be helpful for them, and how can they contact and connect with us. There will be a penalty if you go over a minute, which is meant to be fun. The penalty is you will have to say the sentence, integrate, simplify life 3 times. I apply the same rule to myself, but the penalty for me would be decided by the panel members. So let me start the whole thing going. I have a 1-minute timer here. Namaste. My name is Vivekanand. Wake Technology is my company. I believe in living a simple life. I believe in thinking differently. I am proud to share my beliefs with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said, simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. Here's my simple way. Avoid the cowboys, work with the Indian. Let the Indian handle technology. and you live an integrated, simple life. Maybe you have lots of projects and you are struggling to find someone who can integrate and simplify. Contact me through my Google Plus page or my website, wake-technology.com. Hope that came in within 60 seconds. It is our guest's turn now. I shall call out each of your names, pin you on the main screen, and start a timer. This week, I shall start with the master networker, Mr. Stefan Thomas. Please.
I didn't know you meant me. Hi, I'm Stefan Thomas. I am Network Director of For Networking, which means that I look after about 5,000 breakfast, lunch and evening networking meetings in England, Scotland and Wales. Going to networking meetings is now what I do for a living. I'm also the author of Business Networking for Dummies, of which I'm incredibly proud. Now an Amazon bestseller, as Vivek mentioned, which I'm terribly proud of. You can contact me on either Google Plus at Stefan Thomas, or you'll find me on Twitter as No Red Braces, or my website noredbraces.co.uk. Have a look at my website if you want hints and tips on how you get the best out of networking. That's me, Stefan Thomas, for networking.
Thank you. As
You're welcome.
Masterful as it can be.
That's kind of you.
Lee.
Morning, how are you? I am Lee Rickler. I run a company, a online production agency called Point and Stare. We're based down in London, King's Cross to be exact, which is a lovely up-and-coming area. I run, the main company is Point and Stare, which is the online production agency, but also run other sub-companies and sub-products like Amazewall, which is a social media platform for events. I also run a UK starting and launching tomorrow at 2 p.m. The UK Biz Hangouts, which, as the title suggests, is for UK businesses to embrace Hangouts and Google Hangouts in general. And off of that, a subset of that is another website was set up called hangoutstaff.com. Where you can search for or add yourself to. You can search for any Hangout stuff you're looking for. So that's me, Lee Rickler from Point and Stare.
Excellent. William Rock has joined us. William, would you like to say a few words? Just a minute. Tell us why contact you, how helpful it will be for us, and how to contact you.
Well, thanks for an invite, Vic. I mean, this is a fantastic opportunity to join you in your conversation. You've been in my conversations, and I'm just going to sit back and learn. So.
But how to contact you and why?
Well, I think the best way to contact me would be through Google Plus. That's kind of where I spend most of my time. On top of the, with a different screen with working on clients. So I work on both things at the same time. I'm a programmer, security engineer, internet marketing specialist, conversion analytics. The name keeps going and going and going. It's all different things I've had to do in my career. And why to get in contact with me? I don't know. If you want to have a good geek out challenge, it'd be fun. So again, thanks for having me on the show. I look forward to whatever you got going, and I want to learn more about Wake and your product there.
Thank you. David?
Integrate simple life. Integrate simple life. Integrate simple life. My name is my Google name. My Google Plus name is David F. Small Biz David Leopold. For over 40 years, I have been solving small business problems and challenges. About 6 months ago, I started to moderate and facilitate a fast-growing community in Google Plus called Dreaming with Entrepreneurs in Google Plus. Very simply, I also would like to say that thank you, Vivek. I have been with Vivek from the beginning. This is now my 8th HOA appearance with him. And I'm also happy to say I didn't know that William was going to be here today. I helped William launch his first HOA last week.
Fantastic.
So I am very proud to have two folks that I've worked with in launching HOAs, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Excellent. Yeah, that I haven't left anyone, have I? No, that's good. First, in the very first episode I did, I bungled it, and it was the panel members who reminded me that someone had not done his 60-second. But anyway.
Oh, Vivek, excuse me, I forgot something to say about myself.
Yeah.
I'm a cowboy. Okay, we have now come to the topic of the day. I shall show you a short presentation. The agenda, as usual, is answer to 3 questions. Why organize organization? How does PRINCE2 define organization? What can a small business do to make sure that their organization structure is right for them? Let me start with the answer to the first question. As we all want organization, you may be wondering why one should spend too much time organizing it. Isn't it a matter of throwing together a bunch of people, give them different roles, and get going? Well, the answer is no. You cannot simply throw a bunch of people together and expect results. You pay people to do some work, and so they should then do the work, isn't it? Well, not really, unless you're hiring a bunch of vending machines. When you want people to do some productive work for you, you have to have an organization structure, define individual roles, limits, etc. So I hope I have answered the why organization question. Though the Americans and the British are likely to disagree on the correct way to spell organization, what organization means is same all over the world. It is time for the TOTD story now and answer the how and what questions. Today I shall tell you a snippet from an episode of Star Trek which deals with changing roles and how they affect our lives. I hear a bit of noise coming from somewhere. Okay.
It was actually the cameras that a couple people have got on taking snapshots while you heard.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah. The story is the Starship Enterprise is at Starbase 173 for port call. On the Starbase, Captain Jean-Luc Picard meets one of his old acquaintances, or shall I say female friend, Captain Philippa Lua, and some sparks fly. Jean-Luc says that it has been 10 years seeing her again, and that makes it seem 50. Unusually for him, he is being a bit naughty and asks her, if we were alone, know what I'd like to do? Philippa responds with, bust a chair across my teeth? Jean-Luc says, no, after that. And then Philippa acknowledges, ain't love wonderful? Captain Philippa is the Judge Advocate General on the Starbase. This story is not about romance, but about changing roles and responsibilities depending on situation. Captain Jean-Luc is then introduced to Commander Bruce Maddox. Data observes that Maddox was the only committee member who opposed Data's entrance to Starfleet Academy, arguing that Data was not a sentient being. And sure enough, Maddox wants to do some experiments on data by disassembling data. Maddox is convinced that data is just a machine. He explains that he would dump data's memory into the Starbase computer and also explains the experiments he wants to do. Maddox refers to data as it and machine and refuses to treat data as a person. Captain Jean-Luc finds out that Maddox is making dangerous assumptions as pointed out by Commander Data. He says Commander Data is a valued member of his bridge crew and refuses to allow Commander Data to submit himself to this experiment. But Maddox has already secured a transfer order from Starfleet as he had anticipated such a reaction from Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc goes to the Judge Advocate General of the Starbase, who is Philippa, his former love. But as a judge, she has to play her role properly, and she does so admirably. Though Captain Philippa is happy that Jean-Luc came to her for help, she retains her objectivity and takes decisions according to the law. She suggests that Data can resign from Starfleet, but Maddox accuses Jean-Luc of falsely endowing Data with human attributes and raises further legal issues. Jean-Luc finds out that Maddox plans to create thousands of copies of androids like Data. So, based on some previous case, Philippa rules that Lieutenant Commander Data is property of Starfleet and he cannot resign. Captain Jean-Luc challenges that decision. The legal challenge needs to be argued in court. Philippa assigns the task of defending the civil rights of Lieutenant Commander Data to Jean-Luc, and as there are no other senior Starfleet officers available, she states that Commander Will Riker will have to take on the task of prosecuting. But Commander Will Riker considers Data to be his friend and believes that Data should have civil rights. He refuses to argue against his own beliefs. But this is a major problem because in the absence of a proper prosecution, as per the law, Philippa would be summarily ruling based on her findings that Data is no different than a toaster and he is to report to Commander Maddox for experimental refit. So Commander Riker is left with no choice other than to make a case for prosecution. He executes his new role very well and proves Data is nothing but a machine. During a recess in the proceedings, Jean-Luc talks to Guinan, who is a mysterious, wise woman. She says, in the history of many worlds, there have always been disposable creatures. They do the dirty work that no one wants to do because it is too hard, too hazardous. She reflects that with an army of Data who are all disposable, you don't have to think about their welfare or about how they feel. Whole generations of disposable people. Jean-Luc responds that she is talking about slavery. Guinan replies that the term slavery is a little harsh. But as a straight-talking Frenchman, Jean-Luc says, I don't think that's harsh. I think that's the truth. A truth that we have obscured behind a comfortable, easy euphemism, property. Jean-Luc Picard argues for the defense and proves that the Data shows 2 of the 3 signs of life and the third sign is in dispute. He then pleads that the ruling should take into account a situation when Maddox or someone else would eventually create thousands of androids like Data, effectively creating a new race. He asks a very hard and direct question. Are you prepared to condemn Data and all who come after him to slavery? In this Star Trek story, you see a lot of changing roles. Let's come back to planet Earth, shall we? And present day. It's now time for a mind map, and I shall be concentrating more on roles and responsibilities. I need to do a screen share, and as usual, I shall pin David and then proceed. David, please tell us your thoughts. Unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. I should know by now. You can't hear me unless my mic is unmuted. I love Vivek how you take Star Trek, something that certainly this panel all knows about Star Trek, probably saw the Star Trek in its original days, and make it very time appropriate for what is happening today. And we know how important organization was in the success of Star Trek, for them accomplishing all the things that they did.
Yeah, David, you were mentioning Guy Kawasaki experience yesterday.
All that I want to say about that right now is that on Friday, Guy sent just kind of a general message out to the world that he was going to be doing version 2.0 of his book, The Art of the Start. And if you've never read the book, The Art of the Start, it's highly recommended that you do. Guy has this uncanny ability to look at things differently than the rest of the world looks at them and really get to the heart of the matter. I'm just enthralled by the way he's able to analyze and create case studies. At any rate, he on Friday he sent out a general message to the world saying that he was going to be coming out with version 2.0 of the book. And if you were interested in becoming a part of a beta test where you would see the manuscripts and then comment on them, please say that you're interested and tell a reason why I should ask you to be a part of the beta test. So I responded to that email, and within 2 hours got an email response back that I am going to be part of the beta test. And so Saturday, I actually read a manuscript that he put out and made 26 comments on it. And it just so happens that Saturday was his birthday. Saturday was Guy's 60th birthday, so I returned my comments to him on Saturday and said, here's my birthday present to you. And lo and behold, he came back with a personal response. So he and I have been going back and forth with some personal responses. But I told him I'm so excited about his coming out with version 2.0 of The Art of the Start. And I actually asked him, can I start marketing the concept right now, today? And of course his response was, yes. So here we go. 2.0 scheduled to be published in March.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. That was I see that you're going great places, David. Hope you would still remember us, but
I will never. I'm on a mission to do what I need to do, and actually it fits very perfectly. And as I mentioned to him, that I'm launching a kind of a new concept for me, a new service offering, and it's all and with the art of the start, it fits perfectly with what I'm doing. So it's just kind of one of those things, you know, happening right now, how things happen, and perfect timing. It's all about timing. It's all about timing in the entrepreneurial world, Vivek.
Excellent. Okay, you on the screen you now see a mind map. I use a software called as iMindMap, but I'm not using its built-in presentation mode, as it is a resource hog. To keep it simple, I'm using screen captures of the mind map. I keep saying that because I hope one day they would create a more useful feature. I shall explain the mind map by focusing on individual branches. I have just zoomed into the first branch of the mind map. PRINCE2 uses the customer-supplier approach and gives a lot of importance to the roles of the user, supplier, and the business. In PRINCE2, the stakeholders are represented extensively. Let me expand that branch as a separate mind map. Corporate programs, directing the project, delivering the deliverables, and managing the project. Let us look at corporate stakeholders. If your project is executed as part of a corporate program, then program manager would be involved during the commissioning of the project. The executive for the project board gets identified and the project tolerances are defined. That is the project board you see there. Directing is done using project board. Project board has three main roles: executive, who chairs the project board and owns the business case. The senior user is responsible for identifying and realizing the benefits that are expected from the project. The senior user role extends beyond the life of the project itself and is responsible for ensuring the quality of the deliverables. In large organizations, the senior user role may even be taken up by a group of people who represent the user community. The senior supplier is a representative of the suppliers or someone from within the organization who handles liaison with suppliers on an ongoing basis. These are roles. These are not job titles. Some of the roles may be combined depending on the size of the project. PRINCE2 allows combining senior user and project executive roles, which is quite common. It also allows combining senior supplier and executive in less common situations. But it will not allow combining the senior supplier and the senior user roles because there would be inherent conflict of interest. For delivering, you may have an optional separate team leader role. This role can be taken up by the project manager. This role leads the team members who handle the production of work packages. The team has to raise periodic checkpoint reports, and the project manager uses them as input to raise periodic highlight reports. Managing the project on a day-to-day basis is done by the project manager. Project manager is responsible for producing the right product on time, on budget, and at required standard. This role is responsible for overall planning of project, motivating the teams, and reports to the project board. That was a detailed look at how stakeholders are represented. We are now back at the big mind map. Let us look at the project assurance aspect. Project assurance is a role which asks and gets answers to questions such as, are things really going as well as we are being told? Are any problems being hidden from us? Is the solution going to be what we want? An important point to note is that this role cannot be assigned to the project manager, as there would be an obvious conflict of interest. PRINCE2 identifies a separate role for project support, especially for large projects. This slide shows various aspects of organization structure. PRINCE2 specifies some roles as mandatory and shown in red. On left are roles that are mandatory for any project, and on the right are roles that are required in large projects. The full slide once again. The change authority by default is the responsibility of the project board, but may be delegated to the project manager. We are back at the big mind map. Hope I have simplified the map for you. And we have now come to the end of the topic of the day presentation. And let me come back into your view by coming out of the screen share. I shall now pin Stefan this time. Stefan, you are a director of For Networking.
Yes.
So
That's me.
first of all, tell our audience a bit more about 4N and the way it works. Also, please explain a typical agenda of a 4N networking meeting.
Okay. So we run networking meetings for businesses and entrepreneurs across the UK, across England, Scotland and Wales specifically. We run 5,000 meetings a year, there or thereabouts. We are in about 3 weeks' time. We also have the Business Networking Show, where us and all of the other networking organisations in the UK are getting together in the middle of the country for a complete day of networking with people from all over the country. So our meetings typically have an average of 20 small business owners at them, and the meeting will start with a 40 seconds round. All of our meetings, are held over either breakfast, lunch or dinner, are held over a meal. So we'll start with the 40 seconds round. Once the 40 seconds round is complete and we've learned about everyone's business, then everyone in the room books to have free 10-minute one-to-ones with people. I'm explaining that it's free because in my Oxfordshire accent, I explain it the same, I pronounce it the same as the word free, which makes no sense unless I go like that. So everyone has free 10-minute one-to-one meetings with other people in the room, and also as part of the meeting we have a 10 or 15-minute presentation from a member. So that's what we do. It's an interesting conversation because as an organisation we're actually very structured, but everyone who's involved in the organisation of our meetings are effectively volunteers. So the organisational roles are sort of interesting to me as to how we've got everything set up here.
Interesting point. One thought that came to me was even though you are a director of this organisation, that doesn't stop you from attending one of your networking breakfasts.
No.
And when you are in such a meeting, I have seen that you don't even take up the group leader role for that group, because there is a person who has that role in every meeting that the group has, and that person continues that role even when you are in the meeting.
Yes.
So, what are your thoughts about that? I mean, yeah.
Well, we have 15 or 20 meetings running every day. So I live in Oxfordshire, in sort of the middle of England. So we have meetings all over the country, which are many hours drive for me. So I can't possibly be at every meeting around the country, and wouldn't try to be. So in each meeting we have a group leader and some other roles in the group as well, which actually make sure that the group runs on the day. That's no longer my role in 4Networking. I joined 4Networking as a member back in 2007 and did hold the group leader role myself in a couple of groups in Oxfordshire before my role started to change in 4Networking, and I eventually took on the network director role, which I have now. And I'm listening to, I've been talking about it in chat, but I've actually got the most black skies over Oxfordshire at the moment, and thunder and lightning just starting here. So it's distracting me a little bit.
Yeah. In my view, actually, participating and even hosting Google Hangouts can give you few advantages, maybe better, I don't know. So do you think those who do not attend networking meetings in real life, for whatever reasons, may be more inclined to use Hangouts as a tool, or do you think that these are two different things and not necessarily connected?
I think all of the above, actually. I think they're inherently connected, and bearing in mind that I see Lee relatively regularly and speak to Lee almost daily, and yet we've participated in 2 Google Hangouts today so far, and with one tomorrow as well. I believe that this sort of technology actually enhances real-life networking. I've written an article really recently about how real-life networking is still terribly important, in fact possibly even more important in the social media connected age, because actually people value those real-life connections. So I'm in the near future, in the next couple of weeks, say, I'm not going to get to meet David or William because of the distances involved. But what I do think is that having been able to be involved in Hangouts with them before, when I eventually do get to meet them, and I very hope that I will, actually the relationship's already warmer. When I first walked into a networking meeting in 2005, I didn't know anyone in the room at all. And pre-social media, I had no connection with the people in the room. Now, if I walk into a networking meeting anywhere, I will know people from social media. So the relationship is already a little step forward than it was if I'm meeting them for the first time. On the other side, I think that actually social media, including Google Hangouts, enables us to keep those relationships alive in between our real life networking meetings with people. So yes, it's a completely different thing. Yes, it's connected, and both of them enhance the other one if you use them properly, and both of them can stand on their own as well.
That's yeah. I actually have another question, if you don't mind, about your book. I mean, in this book, you in the second chapter, you start with networking for the employed.
Yes.
And then you move on to networking for the business owner.
Yes.
There you're saying, and I'm quoting here, networking still isn't the norm for small businesses.
No.
Those who make the effort reap the rewards. So please, if you're not already doing so, choose to be one of the few who do make the effort. You'll be in the minority and you'll have a competitive advantage.
In terms of statistics, and I can only talk about the UK here, according to the government body, the Office for National Statistics, there are 4.2 million people in the UK who count themselves as self-employed or small business owners. 4.2 million people. The number of people going networking currently is less, actively networking in real life in the UK is around 2% of that total. And still, an enormous amount of that total aren't getting involved in social media. They're not, a tiny amount are getting involved in things like Hangouts on Air. So such a tiny amount of people are taking advantage of the opportunity to network. For 30 or 40 minutes of my time this afternoon, I now am connected to David and William. I have no idea where those connections might go in the future, but I know that they now have an opportunity to go somewhere, those relationships that they wouldn't have had if I'd have never have met them. So networking here this afternoon, even though, which some of you on the call know, even though I'm sat at home. I had an operation on my leg last week, and I can't actually get out and meet people in real life at the moment. I'm stuck here. This still gives me an opportunity to connect with people and see where those relationships go in the future.
Vivek, I'm just overwhelmed by the discussion I'm hearing right now. Stefan, I totally plug into what you've just stated. Unfortunately, I'm still from the old school. I go to my local bookstore to buy books, and I buy a lot of dummy books because the word dummy gets my attention right away. So I haven't purchased your book, but I guess I'm going to purchase it. I've done a lot of networking in the old-fashioned way in my life. And to your point, about 7 years ago, I put a network of small business owners together in 3 different cities in Ohio, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Dayton, Ohio. And it just so happens they almost form a perfect triangle. It's almost a perfect triangle. And I had about 300 small business owners that would meet once a month in each of the 3 cities at lunchtime. And we would network, not necessarily to sell our own businesses, but to figure out how we could help each other with the challenges that we were having in our businesses. And it's amazing. I do not leave my house except on very special occasions to do out of home networking, because the value of this tool that we are now using to network, it's efficient. You know, we meet people from all over the world instead of our own little local community. The organization that I've got going, Dreaming with Entrepreneurs in Google+, it just so happens that, and I've got to look at it more closely, but clearly, just eyeballing, more than 50% of the folks that belong to my community, our community, are from around the world. They're not from just the United States. So the concept of using technology to network is phenomenal, and it's very exciting for me. And this is where I know Lee and you and myself will have many more times together. You know, I understand small business. I've been doing it for over 40 years. But for me to step out of my United States, Cincinnati, Ohio, into a culture in the UK, you know, I know small business, but I don't know necessarily the culture of UK and what makes, you know, small business tick in the UK. Now, Vivek has taught me a lot of things in the last year or so, in the year that we've been friends. But that's an exciting concept because we can really create a universality concept, not only of networking, but helping each other out with things that we're challenged with in the United States against things that you might be challenged with in the UK, things that William Rock is challenged with in Kansas City. It's really exciting. And William just said, and we got a real interesting flow of comments going in the group chat that is only we can see. But William said he's going to write a book on networking HOA style. Lee, I'm going to challenge you to not Lee. I'm going to challenge Stefan to get that book out before William Rock does. and
I've written it already.
One more final point.
Go ahead.
Vivek knows this. Right after this HOA is completed, I'm going to be producing my own HOA, and I'm introducing a new concept today. And if anybody on this panel would like to be on my panel in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, please let me know in the chat, and I will send you an invite. I'm launching a really exciting concept, and I would love to have any or all of you participate in it. How about that for networking and getting helping our businesses and technology.
I'm so sorry I can't do this afternoon because I'm going to have to go in a second myself. David, something for us to talk about in detail some other time. You've talked about when you were networking in Ohio and networking locally. I think the thing that has changed is the concept of what is local, because I think local has much more to do now with who your community are than where they are. And in fact, even in UK terms, Lee is about 70 miles away from me right now. Lee's in London, I'm in Oxford. But Lee is part of my local community. Lee's part of the close group of people I have around me who advise me on things. I think with technology, the concept of local is changing hugely.
It's wonderful, and it's such an exciting point in time. You know, I've been doing this stuff for over 40 years, and I can't believe how simple and efficient it is today to where we were, you know, a long time ago, and trying to do these things. We get a lot more done in a shorter period of time.
And I think, David, your comment you made earlier on kind of sums up modern networking as well. The old school way of networking was to go into a room, rock up, and sell stuff, or at least try and sell stuff. Nowadays, you said basically I started networking not to sell. And you're exactly right on that. It's not about selling. It's about selling yourself, but it's about creating contacts and people who can help you, and suppliers and those kind of things as well. And a lot of people miss that still because they're coming from a corporate background. Whereas if they just, you know, people just chill out, turn up, see what's around, see what they can get from it, not give to it, but take from it, and then people will start buying from them after a while.
We live in a great world, don't we, Lee? Look how much further you and I would be ahead if we started this stuff. Well, I'm way older than you are, but we had started.
Yeah. I've got a nice camera. It makes me look younger than I really am. Yeah.
Well, I see a young daughter. I see a young daughter behind you, and
that's not the daughter. That's the boss.
Whatever the title might be.
Princess.
Stefan, you're saying apparently you have to rush off in a couple of minutes. And,
unfortunately, I had this down for 45 minutes, so I'm going to have to go in a second.
Yeah.
Me as well. I've got work.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts? Yeah, we have come to.
I need to say thank you so much for inviting me. Really enjoyed it. I've connected with the guys who I didn't previously know, and I'm sure we'll be keeping in touch. And yes, would love to be involved in future shows. Really sorry that I can't make this afternoon, David.
And Stefan, I'd like to get in contact with you later. I think this is fantastic.
You're very welcome to. I've connected with you on Google Plus already, William. So whenever you like, I'm around.
All right, buddy.
Vivek, if I might say, the hell with your organizational charts. We're rewriting those organizational charts right now.
Hey guys, I'm going to have to say goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, Steph.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
David, that brings up a good point. I mean, those charts are fantastic. I put in the chat. I'm hoping that you guys will actually share those mind maps later, because I think that's a fantastic opportunity for other organizations to at least have that. Go into a big project and know that, hey, there's an opportunity here where I can actually organize this quickly. And there's data. I mean, this was probably the best mind map I think I've ever seen in this concept. So to that, I mean, I've built a lot of mind maps, and I've been an organization of big projects from the IT space. So when you're working with some of the top security guys, and you're talking with, you know, the networking engineers, and then you're working with the sales staff, and then you got everything else. How does that whole role in the entire company go?
I have a comment for you, William. Avoid the cowboys and hire the Indians.
You're a cowboy.
Well, hire the Indian now.
You know, it's the experience on here. It blows me away for the fact that I can actually communicate with people across the world and be able to network with them and get their story. They can get my story, and now we can actually figure out how we can work together. And it doesn't stop us because, okay, I'm in the United States and everybody else is somewhere else. and my next challenge is really actually learning how to do marketing outside of the United States at the same time for certain clients that I have. So it's a challenge for me, but it's the same, bringing up that concept that Dave did, which was, we don't really understand the culture in those areas, but we have to learn that culture in order to be able to play in that space, just like everybody else, want to play in the United States. Each one of those pieces of Google actually plays different, even out in UK versus United States. The local, for example, local rank, ranking a company is completely different in both areas, but that's going to come down the line for your guys pretty soon. But you guys get to see what we're actually engaging with and what kind of problems may arise and what you guys can do to fix your businesses in the future.
So now it's all about the IP address, huh?
That was a great discussion, and actually we have now come to the what is coming up next week section. Next week, same time, same place, we would talk about different processes that are part of PRINCE2. And I need to do a quick screen share again. So I'm again going to pin David and then show you a diagram.
Also, this is where I'm supposed to talk, Vivek?
Yeah, you can.
And can I put in your event stream a link to my HOA? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Talk about technology and efficiencies. Oh my goodness.
Next week I will be talking about this big table or chart, whatever you want to call it. There are 7 different processes as identified by PRINCE2, and I would be explaining it all in the next episode. So let me come back into your view by. Oh, I didn't do a screen share of this one. Okay. I do muddle up. These are the 7 areas I was talking about. I will be explaining this in the next episode. Okay. Okay. Often the computer is a bit slow. Closing comments.
Vivek rocks.
You can't change my second name.
I second that.
Do I hear a third from Lee?
Yeah, that'll do.
Hashtag for him.
Yeah. I'm up there. No, I'm not. I'm up there. There you go. Connect with me on Google Plus. Tomorrow we're launching UK Biz Hangouts. As the name suggests, for UK businesses, but not exclusively. The idea is to promote UK businesses and Hangouts together. Exactly what you were talking about earlier on, promoting them, the use of Hangouts and how essential they are really for general networking and for businesses in general as well.
Okay. I'm sure you would want to know more. So as this is a series of HOAs, there is more to come. Thank you for watching the show. So do please share the link to this show on Google Plus and YouTube and so on. You can reach me through my Google Plus profile or through my website, wake-technology.com. My closing comments as usual are integrate, simplify life. Thank you.